Hey, today's guest started his $1 million clothing business out of his bedroom. Yeah, it's one of those stories. Oh, and you know what he called it? FKN Gym Wear. Yeah, FKN. I do love a naughty name. Oh, and he's successfully using Snapchat to get the word out. Snap what?
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I'm your host, Timbo Reid. You, much more importantly, significantly more importantly, are a motivated business owner ready to crank out some great marketing. That's what we do around here 24/7. If you are new to the show, a big, warm, small business, big marketing welcome. You'll wonder what's going on, but you'll settle in very, very quickly because you are surrounded by some very good people. If you are not so new to the show, welcome. Thank you. Hugs and kisses. Hey, big show today. Big compact show today. I'm off to Fiji in the morning for 21 hours. Yeah, 21. Not 24, 21. In and out. So I thought I'd get this episode up before I headed off because it's going to be a busy couple of days. Airport, travel, all that stuff. But it is a big show. We are joined by Ben London, who is the founder of FKN Gym Wear. Do you love that name? It's naughty, isn't it? He's got some great stuff he's going to share with us around naming, how he's built a $1 million business out of his bedroom. He is out of his bedroom now, though, and using Snapchat very cleverly. Haven't had the Snapchat chat before. Plus, I've got a motivational quote about the need for businesses to lighten up. Hey? The need for businesses to put a smile on their dial and not take things so seriously. So today's show brought to you, by the way, by the very good folk at Net Registry who get your online marketing sorted. Anything, website, domain name, hosting, pay per click. And they have some exclusive listener packages over at netregistry.com.au/Timbo, including a $79 a month do-it-for-me website package. Nice. And we are also brought to you by the very good folk at 99 Designs, the world's largest graphic design marketplace where designers from all over the world compete to give you a design of anything and you will love it within 7 days guaranteed. You can grab your free $99 upgrade over at 99designs.com/Timbo. If you haven't done that yet, go and have a look. It's a very, very compelling design offer. Hey, as per usual, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in.
Join the Small Business Big Marketing community and have your marketing questions answered by other motivated business owners, including Timbo, over at crankmymarketing.com.
Righto, as I said, compact show straight into today's guest, who was brought to my attention by long-time listener, Scott Lyons. He sends me an email. He says, Timbo, firstly, I love your show. I'm actually writing with a couple of suggestions that I've personally found extremely interesting. One of them is Ben London. And Scott says that Ben's got this brand called FKN Gym Wear that he started 3 years ago. He's a fantastic fellow who started out of his 2-bedroom apartment. Primarily, it is an e-commerce business, but he's gaining traction with retailers as well. As you can tell by the name, he says he's not targeting people that would normally buy Lorna Jane or Nike. No, certainly not. FKN is at the other end of the spectrum, says Scott. In the last 15 months, he's had huge growth and is constantly bombarded, Scott says. I think Scott knows him, with requests to be included in marketing shoots. You should see some of the marketing pictures old Benny's using in his marketing shoots. Oh, goodness me. Verging on soft pornography, some would say. So this is a very interesting interview. I approached Ben and he sent me a nice little bio of which I'd like to share a couple of points from it. He says 5 years ago, he won a bet with himself and threw away his top-tier sales career with the fitness industry to single-handedly solve the fluoro gym wear epidemic. I asked him about that. He says he's the perfect example of a guy who knew his industry's opportunities better than anyone and with absolutely no experience. I love this. In design, took one T-shirt concept he came up with and turned it into a high-end multi-million-dollar gym wear brand. So isn't that great? I started off by asking Ben, what's the most unusual job he's ever had?
Unusual job. I had quite a few. I actually had a job once where my job was to move seeds from one giant bin into another giant bin after they'd been in one bin for 2 days.
I think someone was taking the piss. Is that a real job?
That's a real job. That's a real job. They have these Land Rovers or something with these big things on the front. They drive through paddies, collect all the grass seeds.
Oh, I love it.
Come back wet. They go into one drum. And then my job was the guy who put them into the next drum once they dried out.
Well,
so they could put in more wet seeds.
You've come a long way. So here's the thing. 5 years ago, you won a bet with yourself, you say, and threw in a top sales job in the fitness industry to single-handedly solve the fluoro gym wear epidemic. First of all, what was the bet?
The bet, I guess that I couldn't do it, I suppose.
Right.
I mean, it was tough, a long time ago. I'd actually had a few other businesses and stuff, but that was all pre-social media.
Yep.
All my businesses were old school, so there were message boards and forums and stuff, but back then, you couldn't. There was no Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all these things. So it was pretty old school.
How old are you? 68?
No, 42.
Righto.
42.
Oh, well. You're not a spring chicken?
No, well, I've been in the industry since 97 full time, and it's been paying my rent ever since. So.
Okay, so you had a bet with yourself. You saw a problem. You're a gym guy, and you thought, man, some of this gym wear, the fluoro stuff, it's a bit on the nose. You wanted to change that. Is that how FKN started?
I didn't necessarily want to change it. I just didn't want to wear it. My thing was I just made my own clothes. I made clothes for myself, and it turned out that other people liked them.
Interesting.
And they wanted to buy them. So
okay. Yeah. So what did you make first, and what was the point at which you've gone, oh, hang on, there could be a business in this?
Well, I made one shirt. I was sitting at my desk in my awesome job with one of Australia's top, fitness suppliers, and I just wanted a T-shirt. We're heading off to Filex, I think it was called at the time, which was it's the Sydney Fitness Expo. At the time, it was the biggest fitness thing in Australia, and I wanted some shirts to wear there for training and stuff, and I don't know where, but it just the FKN lift just popped into my head, which, means fucking lift. Mm-hmm. And that was just my mentality. That's my mentality to training. There's all these people always have excuses and this and that, and I'm just like, just lift. There's no secrets or anything. So I thought I'll just play with that. So I played around with some artwork just on PowerPoint, I think, and came up with that design. Took it to the mall. Got a guy, I bought a shirt from Kmart or something and just got it put on there with a heat thing. And that was that shirt. And then we went to Filex and I was wearing it, and we'd actually brought out, or the company had brought out some of the top guys in the industry, one of which was Dorian Yates, who was a 6-time Mr. Olympia bodybuilder, massive guy, hardcore dude, black and white, grit, sweat, everything, all that sort of stuff. Saw my shirt, said he loved it, and to send him one. So I kind of thought, well, if he likes it, I must be onto something, and that's kind of how the idea got in my head. That
So did you send him one?
No, he never gave me his address. I've sent it to many other people.
Well, I find it really interesting because you were in a job that you loved, or at least you weren't.
I was a social media manager for a company. Yeah.
Right. So you're having a good time. You weren't going, geez, life's pretty crook. I wish I had my own business. But you've gone and done something, created this logo on PowerPoint. Nice work there, by the way.
Yeah, thanks.
High-end design.
Yes.
And you've actually listened to what someone has said and gone, you know what, stuff this. I'm going to have a crack out on my own.
Well, I'd been self-employed before. I'd owned gyms. I had a promotions company where I actually brought athletes out to Australia and we did tours around, a small promotion marketing company and those sorts of things. And it's funny, while I had my gym, is when I was doing those promotions, and I managed to get a bunch of suppliers and stuff in that time, and it was and sponsors, for my events, and made a lot of contacts because of that. And just I sold my gym, and I was like, what am I going to do now? And that's sort of how that I went from not being self-employed anymore. At the time, I was like, I'm never going to work for anyone again. This is great. I was happy cleaning toilets. It didn't matter. I was working for myself. It was great. But then we got rid of that, and so I had some contacts and went in that way.
Righto.
So I had actually been in business myself before and loved it. And I'm a creative person. And as working as a social media manager, my job was, editing things, coming up with competitions.
Having
and
fun.
All the creative stuff. It was awesome. Everyone was jealous of my job. Don't worry about that. It was awesome.
At what point did you make the jump from going, oh, well, I've got a T-shirt, it's pretty cool, the big bloke likes it with all the muscles. Yeah. Where was that moment where you've gone, okay, I'm off, this is a business?
Yeah, well, I just printed up 100, and I actually, again, using pretty basic skills, because I'd actually been blogging for a while. I came across blogs through a girlfriend I had at the time. She was blogging about stuff, and I thought, this is fantastic, because at the time also I'd been writing for a lot of magazines just on competition reviews and stuff like that. So I'd always been writing. I loved writing, and I was on forums. I was moderating a few of the top forums, and I just loved writing. So I came across blogs, thought, this is fantastic, started a blogger blog, and just was doing all that. That's when it sort of occurred to me. But it was funny because I was going to make my fortune blogging at the time. Everyone's going to become, millionaire blogging back in the day. It's funny, actually. Back then they were saying there's no more things to blog about. Now blogs are still killing it.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah. But, and so I made this sketchy blogger shopping cart thing, just linked it to PayPal, and just banged on a bunch of things, took some photos of some friends. Being in the industry, I had a lot of friends I could take pictures of, and I thought, what have I got to lose? It was $1,000 to print 100 T-shirts, so it was no big deal.
So that was your kind of first channel to market, yeah?
Yeah. And just around my gym where I trained, and just they sort of, people just responded. They liked it, again, because there was nothing else like that at the time. Going back 5 years ago, people were still wearing stripy pants and bum bags. And
the bum bag.
The bum bag, it still pops up.
What was that about? Particularly on a bloke. It just doesn't cut it.
That's why you got to keep all your things, Tim.
Come on.
You're
Come on. You don't need things.
I'd love to actually just grab some guy and say, what's in there, bro?
Yeah, come on. Let's sit down, champ. Let's sit down. Let's unpack the bum bag and just see, let's be really brutal. Like, do you need that? Do you need the lip balm right now?
I don't know. It's windy out. It's chapped lips. It's not hot.
Correct. So we're not going to see any FKN bum bag anytime soon. So righto. So you've now got an online store. You
100 T-shirts.
You got a whole lot of product with some very attractive women and men, Ben, as models. Mm-hmm. Well done on that. I'll put one in the show notes just for people to see the branding, of course. You're wholesaling to retailers?
Not at this stage, but I was starting to get inquiries.
So right now you're 100% online.
And just out of the boot of my car to friends and stuff, yeah.
Wrap some numbers around where you're at.
As in how many I'm selling and stuff?
Oh, yeah, revenue, staff, whatever.
Priced them at $50 a piece off the bat, only because I didn't really have a benchmark, and I didn't really – it's funny, I was even thinking at that time, I don't want a volume business. I don't want to be knocking these things out for $5. Then have, to keep a ton of stock and start employing people and all this sort of stuff. I sell them for $50. If someone wants them, that's great. It's no sweat for me. And, so I just came straight out the gate at that price, and then I haven't answered your question.
No, you haven't.
Sorry, ask again. I go on tangents. I get excited.
Now, the question was, wrap some numbers around where FKN Gym Wear is right now, 5 years down the track.
Well, last year we did... Well, we've actually just sold our 100,000th garment.
Nice.
Which was, last month, which is pretty cool.
Do you have a plan, or are you just winging it?
I have a plan now. I used to wing it.
When did the plan come into place?
The plan came into place when now I have 90 retail stores, stocking my product. I have,
I thought you said you weren't wholesaling.
Well, that's when I went back then I was getting...
Yeah, right.
That was the original question. Yeah, back then I just started getting inquiries, and I didn't have a brand, so to speak. It was just that T-shirt that said FKN Lift on it. I hadn't come up with FKN Gym Wear at this stage or anything like that. And so I'm like, no, that's fine. I don't want to do that. I had a great paying job. I wasn't doing it for the money. I never got into this for the money. Right. Which is, I think, very important and something most people should remember who are in business.
Well, I hear that a lot, and I respect it. it's hard if you haven't got any, which some business owners don't. I mean, there's people there's people listening right now who would love to start a business, but they've got a passion, they have a love for something, got no money to do it. So what are you saying there?
I don't think a passion and whatever is enough. Anyway, you've got to be aggressive and whatnot. But
what do you mean aggressive?
Just in your business. It's passion only goes so far. You can be the most passionate person on the planet, but if you can't hustle and do the hours and make the calls and write the emails and respond to the emails and do all these things.
Give me an example of Bennett is most aggressive in building FKN. Was there a moment where you've stood back and gone, geez, did I just do that?
Yeah, I've been through maybe 12 different printers since I started my business.
Right.
And that's all just come down to negotiations and whatnot that haven't worked out. And I'm pretty cut and dry with that side of my business. To me, you have a relationship with your suppliers and stuff like that, but I'm not friends with them. It's a business relationship. I don't care what they did on the weekend, really. I just want to know I can get the best price for my business. Again, that might sound ruthless or whatever, but I'm in it to make money. If we become too friendly, they can become complacent. There's all these things. So, I'm pretty fine to sack people on the spot. I've gone through a bunch of different accountants. I'm pretty cut and dry on that sort of aspect of things.
Is it always best price or like quality,
not at all.
price, quality kind of?
Yeah, turnaround time, product, quality.
Yep.
Price is a factor. I know my price. And it's a reasonable price. I'm not breaking balls with respect to those sorts of things. They have a business to run as well. But everyone comes out the gate promising you the world. Yes, we can deliver in this time. We can do these volumes. We're going to do this. We can do that. How long they maintain that, I kind of give them, a grace period, I suppose. And if we keep it rocking, I've got some great suppliers now. But as I said, it's taken me 12 printers to find this one. I'm on my fourth account, and I think in 18 months.
Ben, I want to talk about your Snapchat strategy in a minute because I haven't had that discussion on this show previously. However, before I do that, support for this show comes from 99 Designs, where dozens of designers compete to deliver a fast, affordable design you'll love. Speaking of love, their big cheese, Patrick Llewellyn, recently compared 99 Designs to a dating site.
We really think of contests almost like the dating paradigm. You go to a nightclub, it's noisy, there's a lot of people to meet, you get to meet a lot of people, and if you're lucky, at the end of that process, you might meet someone, right? And then you go on and have dates. And so a contest is kind of like that paradigm. You put up your proposal, lots of designers submit their ideas, and then you start to whittle down to a few of the ones that really resonate with you. And then ultimately you pick one of them, and once you've picked that one designer, the chances of you going on to work with that designer to get other things designed is actually very high.
99 Designs, where love is in the air. For a free $99 upgrade on your first design, visit 99designs.com/Timbo.
Get on Timbo's mailing list over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
Support for this show comes from Net Registry. Recently, I was Skyping it up with Verity Ma, their Chief Marketing Officer, when the line deteriorated. She thought it may be because she had loads of browsers open. At which point I'm like, why so many browsers?
Well, because websites appear differently on different browsers. So if I run multiple, then I can get a sense of how our websites are tracking across different browsers and customers' websites.
Net Registry, where attention to detail rules. Visit netregistry.com.au/Timbo for a website that works on, well, all browsers. FKN lives in a very fragile industry, fashion. Something can go on the nose. A brand can go on the nose very quickly. You look at the likes of, a Nike, a Reebok, an Adidas, and I know you're not in that. I know you wouldn't compare yourself to them. But FKN, it could go off the nose really quickly for no real reason. Fashion's weird, So do you give much thought to that, and how do you manage the brand?
I don't think about that at all. I just try and pump out the best content I can and the best products that I can. I don't really spend too much time looking at what's current in fashion. My line again is my line. It's like an Armani suit. You're buying an Armani suit. It doesn't really matter what's in fashion at the time. Blue suits might be in fashion. Armani makes black, but I wear Armani, so who gives it? It doesn't matter. with FKN Gym Wear, which I just try and keep a constant sort of thing going for my people, keep them entertained and inspired, I suppose, through my marketing.
So how do you do that? Yeah, you talk about keep on creating great content, keep them inspired, keep them entertained. So on the assumption that the quality of your product is red hot and it's just, people love it, how do you do that other bit? What are you doing?
That's the part that's hard to explain. I think I'm a creative person. I need that outlet. I feel fantastic after I've done a great creative piece or written a great blog post or pretty much any blog post. They're all great. But, like that to me is like a massive sigh of relief. Like that's my satisfaction. And I just kind of I don't know, I'm addicted to that feeling of
I need to understand this a bit more. I need to help you understand it a bit more. So blogging's one thing,
yes,
for sure, and every business should have a blog. What are you doing out there? Do you sponsor events? Do you get involved in the community?
Yes.
What do you got?
I have. I've never really sponsored many events. Again, I kind of look back at that with stuff we had to do 2002, 2003. It is, people will still argue it's great for branding and on all these things. You'll never sell product. I don't do the expos and stuff, but I'll run a competition within the expo. So let's just say there's a fitness expo one. I'm not going to do a stand. I'm not dropping $100,000 to not sell a T-shirt, but, people will see my logo everywhere. I'll have a competition online where if people wear my garments to that expo and get a picture there with someone or doing something, doesn't really matter provided they're in my garment at that expo.
Yep.
We'll give them a prize.
Yeah, like
so
that.
I'm being represented hardcore at these expos without paying a cent.
Is that a Facebook competition?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. I sort of drop it everywhere through my my newsletter as well. I've got a really good newsletter audience.
So those competitions, again, I haven't had that chat either on the show. So running a competition on any of those social media platforms, is it as simple as saying, hey, listen, if you're going to the Six Abs Expo next weekend and you wear an FKN T-shirt and you take a photo of yourself with it on at the expo, and if you post it on Facebook or Insta or wherever, you'll get a prize?
They could get a prize.
They could get a prize? Is that the gist?
Pretty much.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's not that tough. I don't even know why more people don't do it.
No, either do I. I think maybe because they kind of think it's tough,
I don't think it's tough. They're doing all the work. Your fans are doing all the work for you.
What's the most remarkable piece of marketing you've done?
Well, I've had several different versions of remarkable. I've had the most controversial, the funniest. I've had
give me controversial. Love controversial.
Controversy. This was a good one. There's a
involved nudity?
No, unfortunately. Oh, I've had those.
Okay, let's talk nudity.
I constantly get I don't know if this is soft porn or gym wear. That's like a pretty common thing.
Well, I can understand that because I still have your website open in front of me and I'm a little bit distracted. So give me
my whole feeling with that, and it's pretty straight up, is we all go to the gym to look good naked.
Correct.
At the end of the day. I'm showing the results. I don't necessarily need to teach anyone how to do a bench press. There's a million videos on the internet on how to do a bench press. I'm not here to teach you to do it, but I'm here to show you that wearing my clothes while doing that bench press, you're going to look like this. Yeah,
which you may or may not. So give me controversial and give me nudity, the two most remarkable bits of marketing you've done.
With controversial, there's a thing, I think they call it IFYIM. If it fits your macros. It's a dieting or meal plan strategy where you count the macronutrients of every. Exactly. I went out there and basically said this macros thing is just an excuse to eat cake because cake fits in there. They're like, well, there's this many macros in cake, so I can eat cake and beans. And I just went off and said that's all it is. It's an excuse to eat cake. And I ended up getting just attacked. I had ambassadors leave my brand. I had the guy who invented this whole thing coming and posting and arguing with me about it. I'm just sitting back laughing. I thought, you people are just way too sensitive. Yeah. But, there was that. I got sued by Nike as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For good reason? Yes.
I don't know. I don't even know if I'm allowed to really speak about it. But no, that was a thing, I suppose. It's funny. I've spoken to PR companies since. They all pretty much said, we really should have done something with this, small.
Well, what'd you do?
Oh, we printed a shirt that had a likeness to one of their logos.
Right.
And it was different enough. We could have probably made a case. like you are allowed to, manipulate things and do whatever. But, on advice, we were sort of like, you know what, it's pretty close. But we still negotiated a better thing. But that was pretty fun. That was controversial and expensive.
I've always thought if my name was Mike, I'd get a T-shirt printed and just remove the N and put an N on it and have the tick. And, that's Dad. It's my dad joke kind of coming through. But
no, they've got a whole team of people looking for those things.
yeah, right. So now you are nailing, you've got a Snapchat marketing strategy. So I need to take a step back because us old blokes, mind you, I've got 3 teenagers who are constantly on Snapchat. Explain how it works and then what you're doing on it.
Snapchat has, I think, a reputation for just sharing dirty pics.
Yep.
And I'm sure people still do a lot of it. Now with business...
But how's it work? You send a pic to someone and they open it and then it disappears, yeah?
Yes. I think you can see it 2 or 3 times during the day. There's a feature on there called My Story, and what it is, it's a timeline of 24 hours. So you can post a picture. People add you, and then they get a notification that, you've put up an image or whatever, or a video, and they receive a notification. And essentially for 24 hours, you've got this continuous story.
And then it's gone.
I'll Snapchat up something. I'm at the gym at 6 a.m. We're doing it. We're at the gym, throwing a cap. I'm doing this. We've got a competition dropping tonight. I do a lot of my behind-the-scenes stuff. I use it for behind-the-scenes. I find with Snapchat you can drop 3, 4, 5, 6 images a day, provided, because you can adjust the time. You don't drop them all at 10-second views. Some of them are rubbish. There's 3 seconds. These shirts have arrived. Bang. It's stuff you wouldn't necessarily put on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So it's all that behind-the-scenes stuff. These towels have just come back in stock.
Yeah, right.
You make your image, it's up there for 3 seconds. You don't, that's it.
But behind the scenes is a great strategy. I think a lot of businesses put enough weight on behind the scenes. We kind of take for granted what goes on in our business, but it's full of voyeurism and curiosity.
Exactly. Everyone, as I was saying before about there's a million videos on how to do a bench press, there's a million pretty girls on the internet, there's a million muscly guys on the internet, there's a million things like that. There's not a million, that's it. It's connecting with the brand.
Yep.
And that's what people love when they have that engagement and they feel like, and I ask a lot of questions as well through the Snapchat. I do it with my other channels as well, but I'll ask them, what do you guys think of this? What colour's that? How many of these? Once they're engaged with the content or the brand, then they feel a part of it. And I think they're somewhere in their head there's an obligation to then, buy.
So just to be clear, what you're Snapchatting is it's sort of like
a day in the life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And so how are you able to measure that? Is it just engagement? There's
it tells you how many people have looked at it. There's no likes, there's no anything like that, but it does actually mention how many people have viewed it, how many people have screenshot it. So I'll do actual discount codes where I encourage people to go to my Snapchat. And the other reason I love Snapchat is not owned by Facebook. Instagram's owned by Facebook. Facebook's obviously owned by Facebook. It takes me away from relying on those guys. They change every day. You go on there, there's a new way to do things or whatever. So with Snapchat, again, it's just keeping your marketing, giving it another channel.
Interesting. Haven't had that discussion before. Benny, what's next, mate? You sound like you're a bloke who doesn't mind taking a risk or two with your marketing, having some fun with it, not overcomplicating it. Have you got sort of a big idea that maybe it scares you a bit, or you think, could I do that?
Everything does, but the good thing about clothes is they don't go out of date. I could try something. It could be a complete flop. But if I just get 100 of them, I'm pretty sure there's 100 people in the world who are going to like this shirt. So I think the trick is knowing when to quit, knowing when to drop a garment.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So
your dog agrees with that as well, clearly.
Yeah,
Is that the ambassador of FKN or?
That's Betty, and the neighbours just walk past. Yes,
I love it. Interesting, you say clothes never go out of fashion. I would have thought that's one of the first things that go out of fashion.
No, they don't go out of date. As in, there's no use by date.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Still for 12 years, the shirt's still, it doesn't matter. It's not. I'm not making pies. Yeah. So with regards to taking risks, I do it all the time. I just brought out a new shirt that has a giant lightning bolt on the front with the concept that you wear this shirt, you feel like a superhero. And I just had that idea one morning, so I went for it.
Yeah, right.
And see how they go. And the way I usually test these sorts of things is I put them on the website. I don't necessarily market it or launch it as such. And if they start to sell, via the website without actually any promotion, just from my lurkers coming on there and my regular customers coming on there and buying it, I know I'm onto something. So then I'll figure out a really good launch strategy to smash it out.
That's the lean startup model. It's a really good model. And even with, when you post something on Facebook before you boost it, like if you post something on Facebook, gets no traction, then don't boost it because it's going to get no traction. But if you post something and all of a sudden you got a whole lot of shares and comments and likes, you go, well, that's clearly hit a nerve, so I'll put a bit of dough behind it. So I think that's generally in marketing, we need, I think all of us need to have our radar on to be looking around at our businesses going, what's getting commented on? What's getting people talking, and then do more of that.
It's that 80-20 rule, 80% of your income comes from 20% of your products. It's the same for me. I've got hero products where, that's what built the brand and that's what keeps it going. We test new stuff and they'll take over for some time and whatnot, but it inevitably all comes back to those products. So I'm constantly, at least once a week, punching out the hero products, even though they'll sell anyway. But to me, that's a better use of my time than trying to flog a dead horse and, taking up internet space on something that people just aren't obviously interested in seeing.
Correct. Hey, Ben, thanks for sharing, mate. Great story. It feels like you're at the start, not nowhere near the end. And I think, I think your big turning point going forward is the return of the bum bag. So we can only hope, mate.
Maybe I'll bring it back.
Maybe you will. Send me one if you do.
3. One for your kids.
Thanks, Benny.
My pleasure, Tim. Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it, and good luck to everyone, and thanks again.
Oh, the old bum bag, hey? Any of you wear a bum bag? Is there a listener out there, male listener? I think it's okay on the ladies. It's on the blokes. I don't know. It's practical, the bum bag. I just don't know whether it's a great look. I digress. Did you enjoy that interview with Ben? Benny London? FKN Gym Wear.com. Hit him up on Twitter at FKN Gym Wear. Tell him you heard him on the show. Tell him what you liked, didn't like, loved. Hey, I want to share my top 3 learnings thanks to the good folk at 99designs.com/Timbo. $99 upgrade, off away you go. And netregistry.com.au/Timbo. Everything you need to get your online marketing sorted. Righto, learning number 1. What behind-the-scenes information could you share with your customers? Hey, I reckon it's great. People love to see behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm thinking, if you're a vet, you could have pics of your patients in the waiting room. Everyone wants to see all the different dogs and cats and canaries and stuff that's lining up to get the chop. If you're a plumber, what about a pic of a blocked toilet? Maybe not a blocked toilet. Maybe a piping disaster. Or a lawyer. You could kind of take a photo of your wig cupboard. I don't know. Share behind the scenes. I'm liking that. Learning number 2 from a chat with Benny London of FKN Gym Wear. I just like saying that. Test a social media channel you've never considered. Maybe give Snapchat a go. I'm not the marketing guy who says, get on social media. It's a game changer. It's the silver bullet. I don't think it is. But it might be worth giving a channel a go that you'd not considered previously. It's fun to do new things. Learning number 3, really listen to what your clients and prospects comment on in your business and do what? What did you say? Yeah, do more of it. That's right. If people are commenting positively, then that's a good thing. So you should be doing more of it. What was your biggest takeaway? Let me know. And what are you going to action, more importantly? Just hit me up on Twitter. If the show notes are too hard, I hear it is for some of you because you're walking the dog. You can't do show notes. You're driving the car. You can't do show notes. Send me a quick tweet. Pull over. At Timbo Reid. Doc Searles of the Clue Train Manifesto once said, companies need to lighten up and take themselves less seriously. Basically, they need to get a good sense of humour. Alrighty, I'm off to Fiji shortly. I'm going to pack my bag, probably just a toothbrush and some deodorant, non-aerosol type, because Fijian customs, they always take stuff out of my toiletries bag because I forget, that 100ml thing. Been there 4 times this year. Every time I lose an expensive cosmetic. Anyway, plenty of marketing gold coming up in the coming weeks, months. I hope years. I think years right now. That's how I'm feeling about the show. Hey, be sure to use news. No, not news. Use Net Registry. If you need a website or if you need a website to get found. I'm not making sense. I'm not even going to edit that. I'm just going to go with it. You'll get an exclusive listener package over at netregistry.com.au/Timbo, including that $79 a month do-it-for-me website package, which I think is a ripper. Hey, and if you need something designed, anything, book cover, brochure, logo, car wrap, head over to 99designs.com/Timbo and you'll get a free $99 upgrade. Gotta love that. And audio production for this show is done by the world's best audio guy, Daryl Sonic Hedgehog Bisson. That was an audio reference in case you're wondering, listeners. And the music bed created by Mr. Organ himself, Mr. Lockie Dolly. That sounds very wrong, Mr. Organ. Hey, if you need a speaker for an upcoming event, I'm all yours. timreid.com.au is where you'll find what I do on stage. And if you want to surround yourself with other motivated business owners, then join the forum over at crankmymarketing.com. I'm in there every day. Hey, until next week, I'm Timbo Reid. Have a great week. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.